Hey guys, this is Wiregrass Pyro. We're going to jump into our $50 assortment demo. Let's get this stuff out of the bag, get it laid out, and then jump into this. Alright everybody, I got everything out of the bag, and as you can see, this is our do-it-yourself $50 assortment from Phantom Fireworks. I just wanted to give a quick overview for anybody who has not seen the unbagging or the unboxing of this assortment that I created myself for $50. We have everything from jumping jacks to snaps, all the way up to Roman candles, a small cake, and then down here at the bottom we have the Copperhead mini shell kit right here, and our 6 shots with the small tube. And then for comparison, we're going to do the TNT mini canister shells. Now I will say that these are much bigger than the Copperheads are, so I do think these TNTs are a little unfair, even with them being labeled mini versus these minis down here in the Copperheads. But let's go ahead and jump into our first item, and we're going to try to actually light as many of these off with the Pyro torch that we purchased with this assortment.
Alright, first we are going to go ahead, we're going to jump into the simple but classic snaps. Now these are the Wolfpack snaps. Let's go ahead, crack these open. As you can see, they're just your classic snaps, nothing too special about them. Let's go ahead, throw a few, fly through these ones, and go on to the next items. We'll go ahead, we're just going to do 2 of these right here to begin with. Pretty good. One of those popped, one didn't. Go ahead, we'll throw another one. Looks like one of them right there, believe it or not. Doesn't actually have anything in it, so be mindful of that. Still pretty good. Really good quality, I think. And fair competition for the TNT snaps that you find at your local Walmart. Well, let's go ahead and jump to the next item.
Alright, up next we're going to jump into, pun intended, the jumping jacks. We're going to do one with the wrapper still on it, one without it, to see if there is actually any difference in performance and whether or not it is better to unwrap them. But let's go ahead, we're going to use our Pyro torch over here, get it lit. As you can see, it does have a fuse, makes lighting it extremely easy. These last for about 5 minutes, but let's go ahead, jump into this, get these jumping jacks lit off. Alright, as you can see right here, we do have the Pyro torch going. It is an extremely slow burn, but I still think this is going to be really fun to light them off with this. Let's go ahead and do the jumping jacks first. And as you can see, that managed to light extremely easy. Definitely didn't get a whole lot of performance on that. Might be getting drowned out with the light, but let's go ahead and jump into the one without the wrapper on it. Up next, let's go ahead and get this one without the wrapper. Again, extremely easy to light. Really, really good. May have to take this to the burn pit. Unfortunately, this Pyro torch is extremely loud, so we may have to resort to going to a lighter just so this does not drown out our audio.
Alright, I'm going ahead to move this into the backyard, to the back porch, have a flatter area. We're going to do the same thing we did in the field, one with the wrapper and one without the wrapper.
So cool little jumping jacks. I do think that wrapping gets in the way, but let's go ahead and see without the wrapper on it, see if we get a better performance. You can see we're making a little bit of a mess, but let's see what happens without the wrapper. So yeah, I definitely think that when you do these jumping jacks, do them without the wrapper on it. They perform 1,000 times better. I don't think we actually need to do one with the light off, but we'll go ahead and do one without the wrapper at least. All right, we got that light off. Let's go ahead and light one without the wrapper and that light being off. So yeah, you definitely don't need that light to be on or off. It actually drowns out the camera with it being so bright. Let's jump to the next item. Up next, we're gonna jump into our spinning tornadoes. All right, so we are back on the back porch to do this. Unfortunately, the first 3 of these tornadoes did not go that well. So we're gonna do this in the backyard and we'll see if we can get a better performance out of these. The first one was a dud, and then the second 2 basically didn't spin, but let's go ahead and get these lit and see if we can get some better performance on them. All right, so that worked out pretty well. As you can see, that thing is still spinning over there. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna light another one. So that one unfortunately dudded out, and we do have one more, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into that last one, see if we can get it to perform correctly. And this is our last one, so let's hope that this one actually works correctly. Works really well when they want to, and as you see, it's basically spinning like a top. Really cool. Let us move on to the next item. All right, up next, we're gonna jump into the 200 count of the Wolfpack Firecrackers. Let's get these out of the wrapper, get them on the ground, get these lit off. All right, we got them laid out. We went ahead and took that Wolfpack wrapper off just to kind of help on some of the cleanup. Move this a little further away from the truck. Let's go ahead and light these off. This is our 200 count Firecrackers. All right, those are extremely fast. Probably one of the faster firecrackers I think I have seen. Definitely extremely loud, but they do not last anywhere near the length of time that I would like to see. That fuse definitely needs to slow down some. But let's jump into the next items. All right, up next, we're going to jump into the Dancing Butterfly Fountain. I'm really having a lot of hope for this fountain. I do think this fountain is going to be really good. But let's go ahead and get this thing lit off and see if it lives up to being worth $1.50, since this did come in a pack of 2 for $3. All right, we went ahead and dug this one into the ground a little bit. Let's get it lit, see what we got on it. Alright, so that was actually really cool. Definitely had a lot of force to it. As you can see, the actual fountain itself kind of shot over there, and it had like little jumping jacks kind of jump out of it. But as you can see, they all kind of cratered themselves right there. I'm going to go ahead, light the other one, and I'm going to put it right back in this flat area, see if we can kind of get those jumping jacks to perform how they should. Alright, we got the second one in. Let's go ahead and see if this one will perform correctly. Oh yeah, that definitely performed a lot better. Definitely shot that fountain out of it again. I'm pretty sure that is by design. I think it has a little bit too much explosive force on it because you don't really get much of a fountain. You get most of that is just the spinning jumping jacks, which I'm perfectly fine with. Now, would I give $1.50 for this again? Probably not, considering it doesn't even last really 5 seconds. Do think it's a cool effect though. Probably worth at least trying it once. But after that, I would probably avoid these. Up next, we got the 90-second Crackling Assault. Now, this is going to last a full 90 seconds. These are extremely long because there's pretty much going to be nothing left of this small firework. It is going to be nothing but a bunch of crackling, and it's basically just a mini fountain that has one effect. Now, I do think it's really cool. Let's go ahead and get this thing lit off. I do apologize if this gets a little elongated and a little bit annoying. If you want to, go ahead and skip through to the next portion, because I do plan on having some chapters in this video at some point. All right, I got it right here. Let's go ahead, light this, and prepare for 90 seconds of just absolute crazy crackling. All right, that has finished, and as you can see, that is definitely 90 seconds of crackling. That is absolutely worth every penny. We paid $6 for a 6-pack, so that means we just got that for $1. That is absolutely worth every single penny on that. 10 out of 10 would recommend that one. Let's move on to the next items. All right, up next we have the Confetti Lights Fountain. I went ahead and dug this base into the ground. Let's go ahead and light this off. I think this one's going to be pretty good. Absolutely. Definitely thought that was done. So I definitely thought that thing was done. That is a lot longer than I thought it would be. That is a phenomenal fountain. I've never lit these off before, so that is my fault for not doing enough research on that. Definitely a great fountain, really good. We'll come back to this fountain at the end of the video when we do our breakdown. Up next, we're going to jump into our 5-ball mini Roman candles. We're going to go ahead, we're going to light one of these, and then we're going to try and get multiple in there, light them off at the same time, and kind of make a homemade mini Roman candle pearl, if you will. All right, we went ahead, put this in our little homemade little tube. Now this is the tube from the Black Cat Gatling pack. We went ahead and cut it down to size so we can get these minis in there. Let's go ahead and get this lid off, see if these minis are actually any good. All right, so those are actually really, really good for a 5-ball, especially something so small. Those actually have a lot more height than I thought they would. Let's go ahead and try and get this tube filled up as many as we can and light them all at once. All right, we got as many as we could jammed in here. It looks like we have 7 of them in there. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to use the torch, see if we can get all these lit off at one time. Get a nice little show. Looks like we got them all lit off. Definitely a nice little homemade color pearl with those. And for the price that I paid for that pack of those mini candles, those are pretty good. Looks like we missed one of them. Let's go ahead, light that off and enjoy it. Up next, we have our 10-ball long rifle Roman candle. Went ahead and put this into the launch tube. Let's hope these perform as well as those minis did, because those are going to be extremely hard to beat. Nice blue. Some of these were really hard to get, not standing that far from them. Definitely beautiful. I love the colors in that. I don't think I've ever seen a small 10-ball Roman candle with that blue color in there, but definitely really good. Let's start jumping into some of our larger items. Up next, we have our 48 shot color pearl. So let's go ahead and check this color pearl out, see if we get some good performance out of this one. That was an extremely fast color pearl. Definitely one of the higher color pearls I have seen. As you can see, every shot went off, but that was phenomenal. Really fast, but an extremely good quality. Up next, we're going to be doing the 7-shot Crackling Mine Cake. Got these a little bit further away. I'm going to go ahead and bury this into the ground a little bit, just so we don't have a tip over, and then we'll light it off. All right, we got it buried. Let's go ahead and get it lit. Definitely a good little cake. Definitely took me by surprise. Was not expecting that height. Let's jump to the next item. Up next, we're going to go ahead and go over our Copperhead mini shell kit. But first, we're going to go ahead and launch one of these mini canister shells. We're going to do a small comparison just for the size on them. We're going to hold them right up next to each other. And like I said earlier, it's kind of unfair calling these TNT ones minis because these things are massive. Okay, so up first, we're going to do that TNT mini canister shell. This is the blue one. Let's go ahead and get this lit off just for a comparison. Definitely has some oomph to it. Let's jump into those Copperheads. This is shell number 1. Some beautiful colors on these. Let's go ahead and jump into number 2. All right, this is shell number 2, so let's go ahead and kick it off. Some beautiful greens. Let's go on to the next shell. Now this is going to be number 3. And if you do use these, make sure you guys ensure that these go down really smoothly into that tube. That way you don't have any issues and have these go off inside of the tube. Because remember, you only get one of these. Really good. Let's go ahead and jump into another one. All right, up next we have shell number 4. Beautiful blue and gold. Let's jump into shell 5. All right, we have shell 5 loaded. Beautiful gold. Let's move on to the last shell, and that is number 6. And last but not least, we have shell number 6. And shell number 6 is my absolute favorite one. That nice strobing effect. Let's head back to the fire pit and give a little review on this.
All right, guys, we are at the burn pit real quick. We're going to do our after assortment little review. Now, I know this technically wasn't an actual assortment. This was just something that I kind of threw together for $50 from Phantom Fireworks. And let me say, I had a lot of fun doing it. I'm honestly not sure if I had more fun building the assortment or actually lighting the assortment. I think it's kind of tied there. Definitely had a lot of fun doing it. I will say that there are some things that I put into this assortment that I wasn't overly impressed with. One of those being the dancing butterfly fountains. I actually kind of never really messed with those, so I was kind of expecting a little bit more. It's a very cool concept, but I do wish that I got an actual fountain with that performance or just got a different fountain altogether. Now for $1.50, I don't think that was actually a pretty good deal for those fountains, if you want to call it that. Let's also talk about the Copperhead mini shells. Now, if you guys check down in the description, I actually have a fellow Pyro that did a video covering just those shells, and unfortunately, he had some issues with them. So I was super hesitant about using these shells in this assortment after I got them, but ultimately they went very smooth. Now, I will say that I also made 100% sure that there was nothing snagging those shells, since cardboard does have an issue swelling, thus making the actual tube diameter a lot smaller than what it's intended for. Still pretty good shells. Definitely loved the fact that they not only had stars, they kind of had like a small chrysanthemum to them, almost a willow effect, if you will. And overall, they had great reports. Now, when you compare them to those TNTs that I used, it's kind of unfair. Those TNT mini canister shells were just absolutely blowing them out of the park. And I definitely think that those shells, which we can cover this in a different video, actually need a much longer tube. But that is neither here nor there, because they are not part of this actual assortment. And I will definitely say the biggest pro of this entire build was those mini Roman candles. We paid next to nothing for that pack of mini Roman candles, and they were by far the absolute best thing in the assortment for the value. That color pearl was great, but I don't think it even come close to what we got out of those mini Roman candles. Now, with that said, let's go over the actual score for this assortment. Even though I built this assortment myself, I do think that I could have probably done a little bit better. I've never shopped at Phantom, so I kind of had a small disadvantage. Don't know what any of their stuff does or did, and that kind of put me behind the curve a little bit. But I will definitely say, as far as the fun factor goes for this, definitely I would probably say for $50, I would give it about an 8, maybe a 9 for the fun factor, because there was a lot of good, fun stuff in this assortment. As far as the value and the overall score for this assortment, even though I built it myself, like I said, I got to score it low. I'm going to give it probably a 6 out of 10. I don't think $50 is enough to build an assortment at Phantom. I would honestly, in my opinion, I would just go ahead and get that Niagara Falls assortment if all you have is a $50 budget. But we're going to wrap this up. Until next time, make sure you guys are practicing safe fireworks and have a blast.